welcome to another FiddleHed fiddle lesson. This is going to be a lesson on grace notes, something you can add to tunes, fiddle tunes, especially Irish tunes. This lesson will be the first of a series of 3 on similar types of embellishments you can add, mainly to Irish tunes, but these kinds of things also work in like gypsy music and klezmer, and even like old time and bluegrass. Although those players tend to use this type of stuff a little less than the Irish players. So I'm going to use the tune Kesh jig. I recommend learning that if you don't already know it, because it'll help you kind of practice this. But you can use any jig or any Irish reel even, but that's what I'm going to use today. And so I have a link to that, to a basic video lesson for Kesh jig below, in case you want to do that first, learn the melody first. So today we're going to do grace notes and something called Mortons. Let's start with the grace note. Start with the first finger on D. Alright, so there's 2 ways to do a grace note. One is coming from below, and one is coming from above. So this is what it sounds like. If our main note is 1, and our grace note is open D, it'll be. If you play guitar, it would be called hammer on a guitar. You do 1 bow for both notes. When the music is written, if you read music, you may see a little teeny weeny little note before the note. That's a grace note. It doesn't even count in how you add up the bar. Because I don't really do a whole lot of music reading, I'm not going to talk about that too much, but that's how these kind of things are written. It's just little tiny notes that you may have seen. Okay, so here it is. Our main note is the first finger, and the grace note is the open D before it. So that's how it works coming from below. If we come from above, we'll say come from above with the second finger, it'll sound like this. You could come from above with a different note, low second finger. Here it is in slow motion. Faster. Notice that when it's really fast, you barely hear it. It's more of a rhythmic flurry. Here it is coming from below again. A lot of the Irish players will give a little bit of press to the bow, a little bit of grit. You can also come from a higher note like the third finger, which I think sounds cool. Here's that in slow-mo. Alright, so that's in a nutshell what grace notes are. I'm going to walk you through some ways to play it, to practice it now. So I'd start with open to 1. Actually, a good warm-up exercise for doing grace notes, mordents, and turns, which we're going to learn in a later lesson, and 16th note triplets. These are all part of a family of things I call trills. I mean, I didn't make up the word trill, but I tend to think of trills as being like the family of all these types of variations. And a trill is just this. If we go open to 1. That's played relatively slowly. The goal is to make it play as soft as you can, so you can play it really fast. It's just my open 1. Just barely touch it. And so you can practice the trill with every interval, 1 to 2, 1 to low 2, 2 to 3, low 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 1 to 3, open to 3, open to 4, open to 2, open to low 2, So if you do all that and just kind of do it on every string, that'll really pave the way for doing these types of embellishments. You may even come up with new ones besides the ones I'm showing you today. So back to grace notes. We're gonna practice the grace note coming from below right now. So we're gonna go from open D to 1. The first finger is our main note. Now we're gonna go. Let's just do that a few times together in a rhythm. Let's vary the exercise. We're going to go, and then one unembellished note after that. So, good. We're going to do the same thing, but go to second finger, and second finger will be the main note. Now, first finger is the grace note. Now 2 to 3. 3 is now the main note, and 2 is now the grace note. Now for a harder one, 3 to 4. 4 is usually a weaker finger for a lot of people. Let's do it anyway. 4 is the main note, 3 is the grace note. Okay, now we're going to practice the grace note coming from above. We're going to go 1 to open D, and now open D is the main note. And so a note on this embellishment and all embellishment, you want to try to make it so that it adds to the tune and it doesn't take away. If it gets too cluttered, then if you clutter up the tune, then you will lose the melody, maybe lose the beat. So with whatever you add, the golden rule is take it all away and see if it's making it worse or better. So if you add embellishment, like if you add grace notes and some double stop, say, and try out your new version of the tune, then play it with nothing, just a pure melody, and then go back and forth a little bit to sort of gauge what is if it's working or not and what you like. So we'll do that a little bit today as well. We're gonna hang in there because we're about to add these things to a tune, the tune Kesh jig. I'm just gonna go over it a little bit more. So coming from, let's see, we're coming from above now. We already did that, so let's do 2 to 1. 1 is the main note. Now 3 to 2. 4 to 3. And so with those fingerings, there's a lot of other ones we could do that you could do on your own, like low 1, like low 2 to low 1, or low 2 to regular 1, and so on. I already kind of ran through a lot of those with the trills, so you can do those on your own. Alright, so we've done grace notes, we've covered that. Let's add it to a tune. So let's go back to Kesh jig. I'm assuming you already know it. If you don't, there's a basic version link below to Kesh jig. So the first quarter of it is. I'm going to try to add some grace notes to that. So for the first one, I'm going to add 2 will be my grace note to the first note, which is a third finger. Cycle that. Alright, another way to do it there is to add fourth finger. A little harder if you're learning this for the first time. I recommend starting with the second finger grace note. But maybe you're already good at this and you just want to, you know, you're already technically proficient, that is, and so you can try the fourth finger then. Alright, now let's add grace notes to the next little phrase, which is, I think the most logical one is starting first, using the first finger as a grace note, like, so coming from above. Here it is again. I'll cycle it. And so this is what this first quarter sounds like now. Let's cycle that. Here it is a little quicker. Here it is with the fourth finger grace note. Alright. So then, like I said earlier, ask yourself, is it making it better or worse? So now just play the tune with no effects added, no embellishments. Now add them back. Alright, maybe you decide, well, I like the first one, I don't like the second one. I'm just saying, I like them both. But say you're playing it and it's just, maybe one's not sounding as good, so try taking away one of them. Point is, be listening to, are these things adding or taking away? Are they making it better or worse? Always ask yourself that. But then keep playing with it. You know, it's a process of experimenting. It's fiddling, just like the word says. You're fiddling with it. Okay, that's grace notes in a nutshell. I'm going to now just cover mordents, which are very similar. But mordents, you're adding two notes. Alright? You have your bass note, and you're going up and back really quick. That's a mordent. So if we have a mordent around the open D, we could go we could go to one and back. And so it's in slow motion. And so what we've added to the bass note of D is, so that's two notes instead of grace notes, which are just one. We're going to do that really fast. At really fast tempos, it's hard to tell the difference between this and a grace note anyway. Here's a grace note. Alright, so back to the mordents, let's practice it together. We're going to do it the similar way. We're going to do it once with it, and then no embellishment. So let's cycle that. For each of these little exercises, each interval, you may want to pause and do it on your own. Now we're going to go 1 to 2. Now 1 to low 2. Now 2 to 3. Now 3 to 4. Of course, you could do this on the other 3 strings as well. You could also start to do the grace notes and mordents in a scale. If you start to get proficient and you practice it enough on each finger, you can kind of run up a scale, like. Let's call that the mordent scale, and go down. Alright, you can also do something similar with grace notes, like the grace note scale. I'll play it with a little slow-mo so you can hear what's going on. Back to Morton's. And so on. Alright, so now let's just close by adding Morton's to Kesh jig. So we have Kesh jig. The basic again was. So, Morton, adding the Morton to the first few notes. I'm using fourth finger. Now add it here. Here it is a little slower. Ask yourself, is it making it better or worse by playing the original? Maybe I'm thinking like doing it on the fourth finger here is a little clunky, so I'm going to take that one out. You know, and by the way, this might just happen on the fly. You may not even, once you get good at this, you may not even be thinking that consciously about it. But for now, like I just kind of go back and forth, and you'll figure it out. You'll develop a feel for how to use these things. Maybe that's a better way to do it. I don't know. Keep playing with it. Keep fiddling with it. And so again, you can add it to the rest of the tune if you want. So on. I recommend though doing small phrases, even 3 notes, and really cycling with this. And with anything you practice, do it that way. Don't just do the whole tune and do the whole tune again and do the whole and you'll get much further if you look at one little thing and just add it to that. Okay, that was a really fun lesson. Thanks for watching, and remember there's another one coming up in this series on 16th note triplets, and then another one on turns, which are like adding 4 notes. I think it's 4 notes, but kind of as fast as grace notes. So thanks again, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. High five.
Thanks for watching the video.
Excellent!